Okay. And then you're here. Okay, I think we're good now. Hello and welcome back. My name is India and I happen to read a lot, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are focusing again on TBRs. My videos recently have been a little bit stop-start. I was having issues with my audio on this camera, which I think, fingers crossed, has sorted itself out. So the videos have been a little bit stop-start, not been as consistent as I wanted. I think that might be the case for the rest of the Christmas period, and we'll be back in the new year. Who knows? Maybe I'll get an extra dose of energy. We'll never know. But today we are going to be focusing on the October TBR. It feels really fucking weird to think that we're in October. And I say this every month because obviously I do these very consistently. And everything's been like, oh, shocking, oh, shocking. October? Wow. Fuck. October is a really, really fun time though. I do kind of like, I've stepped away a lot from theming my months. But October, you just got to go spooky as fuck. I do read a lot of thrillers and kind of horrors throughout the year, but especially in October, bring out your spooky books. Bring them out. Bring them out. I've kind of gone understated spooky though this month. Not as many in-depth horrors as I maybe thought I would have chosen for October. But let's just jump right in. Let's not beat around the bush. Let's just crack on for my October 2025 TBR. So first up, we actually have two books that we are crossing over. I'm still going to be reading The Haunted Wood. I'm currently on page 37. Weirdly, I thought I was on page 68. So if you're looking at my Goodreads, lying to you. I'm currently on the chapter of pre-modern childhood, because what I thought was going to be a history of childhood reading, I thought was just going to be books. We have to get to where we're at to explain how childhood books came around, because originally they were just books for adults and we needed to differentiate an adult from a child in terms of enjoyment. It's very complicated and it makes a lot of sense. So I've actually only read this amount. So sorry, but we are going to continue this, and I forgot to bring it. I'm still halfway through Lonely Castle in the Mirror. I think I'm avoiding it now because I was loving it so much when I was reading it. Now I'm worried that I won't enjoy it as much finishing it. So I think that's why I've been scared to read it. So those are the ones that we are crossing over. But let's get into the proper plans for October. So you'll end up noticing a bit of a theme for this month, but the first one, and I'm sorry if the glare's a bit weird, the first one is Bog People, a working class anthology of folk horror, edited by Hollie Starling, an electrifying anthology from some of Britain's most iconic working class voices. So yes, looking forward to reading this. I feel that October is a great month for short stories. I love reading spooky, creepy short stories, so this is perfect for that. So there's 10 stories in this collection that showcase the best of folk horror. Set in and across England, they celebrate working class culture and history, and sharp as a guillotine blade reveal the real monsters that stalk our green and pleasant lands. Then continuing on the theme, we have Haunted, the ghost stories and folklore of the British Isles by E.Jay Gilbert. This is a collection of supernatural tales that takes us through some of the most unsettling and enduring ghost stories and discusses what they reveal about the listener and the teller and the times that we live in. So it is half short story anthology, half history of ghost stories and folklore of England. So a little bit of a fiction and non-fiction smash up. As you can tell, I had a theme for this month and I'll be sticking to it. I'm looking forward to diving into these. Then we have a reappearance of a book that I mentioned in my last TBR. This is Want to Buckle My Shoe by Agatha Christie. For those of you who don't know, I try to read 3 Christie books a year. I'm thinking of maybe amping that up next year, I'm unsure. This was the book I was supposed to read on holiday just gone in my last TBR. I picked this up, I'd filmed this part of my TBR, and then suddenly I was like, oh, I wonder what the next book is, and it was Evil Under the Motherfucking Sun. Evil Under the Sun. And I was going away on a sunny resort holiday, and I thought, what a better time to read Evil Under the Sun than literally being on a summer resort holiday, exactly like what happens in the book. So it kind of felt like it was best to read it there. So we are now going back in the chronological order, and we are reading Want to Buckle My Shoe. This is the 22nd book by Agatha Christie. This is including all her short stories and stuff. And this follows the death of a dentist. And that doesn't sound that exciting. Like if I said to you, oh cool, I'm reading a murder mystery about a book about a dentist, you'd be like, all right, okay. Should I care? But I trust Christie. I'm hoping it's going to be good. I'll be honest with you, I've heard a lot of mixed things about this one, but if I'm to dedicate my time and my energy to reading these books. Sometimes you gotta read duds, okay? And nothing will be as bad as Death in the Clouds. My plan also is, after reading this one, I do plan on actually ranking all of the Poirot novels I've read at that point, because at this point I'm around the halfway mark, maybe a little bit over halfway. So I plan on ranking all the Christie books. Not all the Christie books, all the Poirot books after I finish this one. Then, and actually, to be honest, this is my current read. So obviously I know I've got 2 books that I'm crossing over, but we are also technically crossing over this one. I don't think I will finish it in September. This is Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb. Does she need an introduction? Not particularly. But this is my first ever Robin Hobb book, starting with the Farseer trilogy, as I believe you're supposed to. Honestly, it's really hard to explain this book. All I know, I've literally tried to film this like 5 different times. Fitz, our main character here, is the bastard son of the heir to the throne. He's trained up to be an assassin. He has an affinity with animals. It's like he can go inside their head. Because he's the bastard son of this powerful royal family, he also has kind of magical, powerful blood that gives him these abilities, like going into the minds of animals. And somebody's out to kill him because he may be destined to save the kingdom. But it's hard to really formulate a good blurb to give you. But everybody that I've ever seen on the internet ever or spoken to ever has just raved about this series, and it's, you know, it's about time that I jumped in. And, you know, I've been saying I want to get back into my epic fantasies. Here we are. So yeah, very excited. I've literally only read 1 chapter. So far, only 1 chapter. And it was a good first chapter, I must say. Then we have The Everlasting by Alix E. Harrow. I read Starling House last year. One of my all-time favourite books of that year. Still, to this day, one of my all-time favourite books. I then afterwards read The Six Deaths of the Saint. And this is kind of an expansion on the short story The Six Deaths of the Saint, if I'm being correct. This follows a lady knight whose legend built a nation meets a retiring historian in awe of her fame. He's sent back through time to make sure she plays her part, even if it breaks his. We don't really need to know more about that. It's a twisty, turny, timey-wimey romance, romantic tragedy about a lady knight and legends and fame and a hot historian. I don't know. I just really, really trust Alix E. Harrow. She has not failed me yet, and I don't doubt that she will not fail me. Does that make sense? She won't fail me this time. I trust everything that she does. I think she's an incredible writer. This, I can't. I'm so fucking excited. It's unbelievable. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Oh, I can't. I'm even like looking in. I actually fucking can't. So good. Next one on this list, or you can't actually tell, is The Midnight Shift by Seon-Ran. This is and I've mentioned this actually so many different times on this channel, but this is a South Korean sapphic vampire book. And again, turns out the main characters aren't vampires. It's actually a police officer and a vampire hunter who work together to solve the case of mysterious deaths at an old people's home, and it happens to be sapphic. Now, I saw a lot of discourse on the internet about a lot of people going into this thinking it was sapphic. They heard Lady Night and assumed sapphic. Don't worry about that. I apologize that it's not. If you do want sapphic and you want vampires, potentially The Midnight Shift. I am saying this having not read it, so with no knowledge, but I love fantasy mysteries. They are like one of my favorite, like my 2 favorite genres mashed together. Fantasy mysteries are incredible. Still to this day, my favorite book so far this year is The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennett. So when I found out we had a vampire storyline, serial killer storyline, sapphic goodness going on, I knew I had to read it. I did. So yeah, I'm really, really excited. It follows a series of reported suicides at a hospital and care home on the rundown outskirts of Seoul, brings young female detective and Soo-yeon and jaded vampire hunter Violette together. Vampires! Then moving on, it's probably been about 2 years since I read the first volume, but we have Inuyasha Volume 2. This is technically 3 volumes in one. So technically it's about to be 4, 5, and 6. I read Inuyasha Volume 1 ages ago, like genuinely ages ago. And I can't believe it's taken me this long. So I was going to pick the kind of historical fantasy-esque manga series, The Heroic Legend of Arslan. I had like the 3rd volume I needed to read, but then I thought, we are in October. We are in spooky fucking month. We want demons. We want supernatural entities. We want a schoolgirl slashing up monsters. Inuyasha. And yeah, it's taken me this long, sorry, to read it, but I really loved volume 1. I gave it 5 stars, so I'm shocking that I'm only getting around to volume 2 now. But yeah, for those of you who don't know, this follows Kagome. She is an ordinary modern schoolgirl living an ordinary life, but she falls down the dried old well in her family shrine and ends up in the distant past. Specifically, it just says Japan's ancient past. And she finds herself battling demons for control of what she thought was a worthless trinket, but is actually a powerful magical gem called the Cheon Jewel. And she allies herself with the half-demon Inuyasha on a quest to build back the Cheon Jewel, because it like splits off into like 6 or 8 pieces, and she needs to go find them again and fuse them back together. And then finally, because I can't stay away from cozy fucking murder mysteries, is The Body in the Kitchen by Paula Sutton. I read The Potting Shed Murder last year and was in my top 5 murder mysteries of the year. It made it to my top 20 books of the year. It was so incredibly good. I am intrigued. This is a very, very short book, so I don't know whether it's going to be able to pack a punch as well as The Potting Shed Murder did. I really, really want to like it just as much as the first one. I think Paula Sutton is a great writer. I really, really like her stuff. So hopefully we can feel that, I will feel that way and I will love it just as much as the first one. But I am a little bit nervous about the length of this book. But this is the second book in the Vintage Hill mystery series, and it follows Daphne. Daphne, in the last book, moved to this very Cotswold-esque village and ends up solving the murder of the school's head teacher. In this one, Lord Hugh Darlington has returned to his crumbling ancestral home after years away with his new fiancé. Daphne ends up going over there. She works at in vintage pieces and kind of upcycling vintage furniture and things like that. And she gets invited around and she stumbles across a body in the garden, in the kitchen garden, if you will. And also Lord Darlington gets attacked. There's some burglaries. It's all fucking going on in this cushy ass town. And Daphne's gonna solve it with kindness. And that's the one thing I really liked in The Potting Shed Murder, is Daphne solves the murder through being just a genuinely nice human being. She's not an asshole. She treats people kindly, and that's how people open up to her, and she gets all the information she needs to solve the murder. And she's gonna do that again. She's gonna do it again. So yes, so we are looking currently at murder, demons, vampires. I don't really know. Vibes. Also vibes. Murder. Ghosts. Folk horror. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was fun and interesting. If you've read any of these or you're intrigued by any of these, let me know. Yeah, please like and subscribe and all of that fun stuff. And I will see you at some point.